BBSim12 asks, face reveal when? How about right now? My name is Ascendant Nomad, and this is my face. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a little awkward making a 25,000 subscriber milestone video when you're at 34,000. I apologize for the delay on getting this one out, but there was a few reasons. There's been a lot happening in the Destiny community in the last 2-3 weeks, so without getting too much into it, I just didn't feel comfortable making a video that was about me, especially at a time when different voices needed to be heard for very, very important reasons. So I do apologize, but we're here now. This is the first time I've been on screen, on camera for a few years now. If you look back through some of my older videos, you can definitely find me being a presence. But yeah, I haven't done this in quite some time, so I apologize if I do come off as a bit awkward or stiff or rigid or what have you, but I'm sure as we get into the video, it'll be a lot more smooth. That being said, before we begin, I do want to take the time to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for 25,000 subscribers. You know, I've had a lot of time to look forward to it, and I've had a lot of time to think about it as well in terms of what it means to me. I don't take any one of your views for granted. I don't take any one of those comments for granted. You know, some comments are nice, others are very, very bad. But that's all part and parcel of being a YouTuber, I suppose. And I know that you could be doing anything else with your time, but you chose to spend it with me. And for that, I am eternally grateful. So thank you for everything, really. Because of you, my voice matters, and that's not something I take lightly. And I hope that I continue to respect your time and provide a voice and an opinion that is worthy of your attention. So thank you. But anyways, enough with the soppiness. I asked you guys to give me a bunch of questions to answer, and there was a lot of them. So let's see what we can get through in about 10 minutes or so. Oathbreaker says first. I suppose that was warranted. Eddie182 asks, who the hell do you think you are? And how dare you? These are very good questions. Toons asks, how did you come up with your gamertag? It's one of the best out there, so creative. Thank you, Toons. So my gamertag comes as a direct result of what my life has been for most of my life, actually. I've lived in... Okay, so I was born in Pakistan, grew up in America, England, Dubai, and now Canada, and I'm a Canadian citizen. And that was all before the age of 20. And Canada's been the longest place I've ever stayed in one place. But even then, like, I'm perpetually between countries. Right now, you know, pandemic aside, my life is split between 3 countries. First is Dubai, which is where my parents are. The second is Canada, my, adopted country. And then the third is Japan, where my job is. So I'm never in one place for any set amount of time. So that's where the nomad part of it comes in, and I think that will continue to be a theme for my life for the foreseeable future until such time I decide to settle down. That's where the nomad part of it comes in, and then the ascendant part is part destiny because of ascendant shards and ascendant energy, and also just I like the term ascendant. I like the word ascendant because it implies motion. It implies that you're rising, that you're always looking to improve yourself and achieve a higher status than what you were before, which I think is just a good way to live your life, really. If you're not growing, what are you doing? Not growing. So, or having a lot of Ben & Jerry's, which is growing in another way. Equally valid, I might add. Vicious Ninja asks, what made you want to take up the mantle of Crucible Doctor? So back in ye olden days, I was a contributor to r/Crucible Sherpa, which is a subreddit designed for improvement. Very similar in nature to what this channel is about. Back in those days, I don't think a lot of people know this, but a certain Dr. Lupo was very present and very active on that subreddit. And I was a massive fanboy. I took after Dr. Lupo. I took the doctor part of that name, partially because of the sort of help that I gave. I was very much someone that tried to position themselves as someone who can diagnose the things that were wrong with your game. And that's what I tried to do, and I think I did that quite well. I would get into 1v1s with people and spend an hour or 2 hours just discussing the various things that I thought was wrong about their game, and then I would prescribe them certain actions, certain drills that they can go out and perform. So if they're having issues with positioning, I would say, you know, try and engage, but like before you do, seek out a bit of cover. If they were very slow on their feet, I would say adopt the 2-second rule. You know, I would just try and do what I could to give them something actionable that they can work on after the session, so that the time that they spent there wasn't wasted, that it wasn't meaningless. Whereas Dr. Lupo, Ramblin, and Ninja with Noel, they would be more focused on trials carries. I would be more focused on sort of like the long-term, what do I do when there's no trials sort of thing. And so yeah, I self-stylized myself as Crucible Doctor, and that sort of stuck, and now I'm known as the Crucible Doctor, which is very odd because I don't have a degree. Elder Zai asks, Nomad, what is a highlight and a lowlight of making improvement videos? Highlight is definitely the thank you messages I get from people saying, yo, this really helped. This really opened my eyes to something, and that makes it worth it. I mean, you know, now obviously I'm in a very privileged position of having so many subscribers and followers, but when I was just starting, you know, even just having one person say thank you, that was worth it to me. Like, however many hours it took to make that video, one person saying thank you, that's all I need. And now obviously there's so many people saying thank you, and it just makes me very happy to see that. The low light is definitely the YouTube comments. It just, there's no getting around it, mate. YouTube comments are kind of the worst. Like, I love you guys, but Jesus Christ, whenever any video gets recommended, the quality of the conversation down below, just, no. There's a good reason why people frequently recommend not to take the YouTube comments seriously. Just look at any gaming YouTuber, any YouTuber really, and you will find a slew of comments that would tear down anybody who took any kind of stock into anything anybody's saying. Which I suppose feeds into the negative cycle of YouTube comments, is because there's so many of them, people feel emboldened to say horrible things because they know it probably won't matter. For some it does matter, and I think we've seen over the last few days of some high-profile Twitch streamers and YouTubers speaking out about harassment. But for me at this stage, it's only a game. Why you have to be mad, you know? Steel Phoenix asks, what was the beginning of your Crucible journey like? Did you start out playing well, or did you have to work at improving? I definitely had to work at my improving. My first ever game was a 0.05, and I didn't have a good time at all. The only reason that it was worth it to me was because I was at the bottom of the leaderboard, and I got a yellow icon next to my name, and it suddenly decrypted into this thing called a Gjallarhorn. This was like week 1 of Destiny 1, and I was like, okay, I like Crucible. I got a cool weapon from it. And then I didn't realize at the time what that meant and how ridiculous that situation was. But anyways, yeah, I was bad. I was really, really bad. And then I got better, and then Trials came around, and that really motivated me to become better. I only started really getting good at the Crucible at like Taken King. So it was about a year of just playing and improving and getting used to everything. And then when it came to PC, it was like restarting all over again, because suddenly I was going from this to this. Well, not this one, but this one. There. So yeah, it was a big adjustment, and it took time. But for me, I like winning. I really like winning. So I was motivated to keep winning. Roof asks, what is Drewski's cone size? Oh my god. Okay, mate, listen. I know it's the internet, but you can't just go around asking people what their cone size is. Jesus. At least buy them dinner first. The Blank asks, how does one manage to be consistent every day? I have really good days and really bad ones. I'm inherently stuck at the same elo. Should I just not play on these bad aim days? Well, I mean, if you want to play with a view to improving, obviously you don't want to play when you're in a bad mood or you're having a bad day. You know, you play one game and you kind of know when you're having an off day. And some people know how to play through it, but when you're just improving, it's probably not wise to play for improvement for those days. In terms of staying consistent, I mean, this is definitely a video topic all on its own, but I will say one thing that I learned from James Clear, who wrote the book Atomic Habits. He said, when it comes to improvement and when it comes to learning new things and making that routine, aka being consistent, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And basically, that's like saying, I want to win an Oscar as a filmmaker, but I don't know the first thing about story. In the same vein, when it comes to Crucible, you want to be a 3.0 KD player, but you keep dying when you're outside of cover. It's about basically getting the fundamentals right first, figuring out what fundamentals you're lacking, and then improving upon those day after day so that you don't have to think about those and you don't see those pop up in your gameplay reviews, which, by the way, you should be doing. You should be watching over your gameplay as much as you can. But again, it's something I do want to go into more depth on, and I don't think I can adequately answer it in this Q&A video. Hope that's okay. Ain't Pro has a question.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Not for a while, thankfully. Nobody has a serious question. What do you feel are your greatest FPS strengths and weaknesses? My greatest FPS strength, I think, comes in analysis. It comes in seeing the bigger picture, identifying player behavior, player movements, identifying patterns of behavior within teams, identifying deficiencies. Just basically I guess anything that a good coach needs to have in order to be a good coach. It's like you have to understand the strengths and weaknesses of individual players. And when it comes down to Crucible, for me, I can adapt that to any kind of environment, whether it's 3s, whether it's 6s, whether it's Rumble or Trials. Like, I can identify immediately, okay, this is this kind of player, this is what their strengths are going to be, and I need to play in this kind of way in order to counteract that. And then the rest becomes a matter of execution, which is, ironically, one of my biggest weaknesses. I don't think I'm a particularly good mechanical player. I think my aim needs a lot of work. I think my reaction speeds are definitely not as sharp as they could be. I don't think I've taken enough time to really iron out the mechanics when it comes to Destiny specifically, because there's a lot of them. But as an FPS player, I think generally I'm a little too loose with my movement and my positioning. That being said, I am comparing myself to the very top echelons of players, the players that can routinely beat me. So if I were to go up against most players, I think they'd probably say, no, you're fine, you're probably very good. But when it comes to judging yourself, you do have to be, how harsh you are on yourself depends on you, and it depends on what is the ultimate purpose in being harsh on yourself. Is it to correct fundamentals? Okay, then perhaps don't compare yourself to top players. Is it to take it to the next level and maybe become a top 1% player? Then yes, be very, very harsh on yourself. Make sure you don't allow yourself any excuses, really. For me, I'm now at that point where I don't have to worry about fundamentals. I don't have to worry about being caught out by Joe Schmo with his Fell Winter's Lie. I am more concerned with the parts of the game where small margins make a very, very big difference, if that makes any sense. It's not about the big picture anymore. It's about the small little things that people do to get a little bit of an advantage. All else, with all things else being equal. Again, I don't know if that answered your question, but that's my answer. Intro asks, how are you doing? Doing pretty good, honestly. The pandemic sucks. Can't get around that. The last few weeks in the Destiny community have been rough, with all the stories of different people being very, very bad to women in the community. And then Black Lives Matter having its long overdue time in the sun has been a good thing. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's been hard to make this video because I'm not somebody who likes making it about me. I'm much more someone who prefers to amplify the voices of others. And so I was spending my time doing that rather than, sitting down to record this. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with my life. I'm pretty happy with my job. I'm really excited for the state of Destiny right now. I mean, trials notwithstanding. Yeah, I'm doing good. And I hope you are as well, Intro. And all of you who are watching, I hope you're good. I hope you're taking care of yourself and laying off the Ben & Jerry's every other day. There's so much more I wanted to talk about. There's so much more I wanted to get into, but I don't want to make this a 40-minute video. Thank you so much for watching. I haven't forgotten about the Game Sense video. That will be the next video on this channel. And there might be some interesting collaborations coming up soon. We'll see. If you like this video, you know what to do. I'm Ascendant Nomad, and this has been my face. Thank you so much for 25,000 subscribers, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.